Welcome to VidSet, your home for careful consideration of our common concerns. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. A few months ago, a bunch of lefty psychiatrists published a book titled The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. In it, they made a bunch of accusations against the president based on what we now know are outright lies. I've discussed a lot of those lies before, so I won't go over them again here. But this presents a teachable moment regarding President Trump. First, let me comment a bit about my family experiences. My oldest brother is a graduate of the Naval War College. In our conversations, I learned that students there were required to read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, a Chinese military strategist who died around 496 BC. This ancient text contains a vast amount of wisdom on dealing with adversaries. The Art of War is one of Donald Trump's favorite books. That should tell us something. He reads widely, as Dr. Sebastian Gorka, a former Trump advisor, noted yesterday. Every day he consumes large stacks of written information, contrary to what the mainstream media tells you. And in this, he reminds me of my younger brother. This brother is a bit like Mycroft Holmes, Sherlock's smarter brother. I simply cannot find a subject outside of medicine where he is not widely read and very well informed. Even when I thought he was absolutely nuts, I have since learned that his assessments were almost always dead-on balls accurate, to quote Mona Lisa Vito. My brother resembles the president in one other aspect. Our conversations often ramble. Because he is fluent in so many disciplines, my brother often jumps to new subjects. If I pull him back, he's instantly able to resume right where we left off, just like the president. In fact, Donald Trump is better at it than my brother. He pulls himself back. Just watch tapes of his rallies and notice that there is a steady thread running all the way through them and that he doesn't use teleprompters or notes. Try that sometime. The lefty psychiatrist called his verbal side trips a flight of ideas, but they were flat out wrong. Their political biases made them unable to see the truth. Our president knows a lot more than they do. Now, Psychology Today claims that he lives in the unconstrained present hedonist, a mental state devoted only to feeling good right now. I suppose that explains the careful strategic thinking that has led to the defeat of ISIS. Right. This brings us to a slow news week. Congress is out of D.C., thank God, so they aren't actively screwing up the country. And now a book by Michael Wolff claims that Steve Bannon said extremely vicious things against Trump and his family. But even left-wing Slate magazine calls Wolff, quote, a notoriously unreliable narrator, close quote. Then Trump tweets that Bannon, quote, lost his mind when he left the White House. Curious. Can we look at anything else to give us hints of what's going on? Does anyone recall an apparent tiff between Attorney General Sessions and the President? Last July, Trump called Sessions very weak. Sessions said nothing. And Sessions is still on the job, now reopening the Uranium One and Hillary email investigations. What about National Security Advisor McMaster calling Trump an idiot and a dope at a private dinner? Or Wolff's books saying there was sessions where advisors giggled about how stupid Donald is? McMaster and the others listed are still on the job. Reports that the Secretary of State was about to be fired have been proven false. Curious. Let's return to Bannon for a moment. What has Bannon consistently done? Since he left the White House, he has waged war for Trump's policy objectives. Just last night, he declared that the President of the United States is a great man. I support him day in and day out. And then we have reports that President's lawyers sent Bannon a cease and desist letter accusing him of violating his non-disclosure agreement by speaking with Wolf. Curiouser and curiouser. Now let's go way back. Trump publicly said that it was stupid to give withdrawal dates and other plans to the enemy. I prefer to be unpredictable. The swamp went nuts. What is Trump's favorite book? It's not The Art of the Deal. The Art of the Deal is simply the art of war in business. And Trump's favorite book is The Art of War. You see, Trump regards his job as war with his opponents. It always has been his job. Making America great again is just his new war after making a large fortune. What does Sun Tzu say about war? Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. In other words, plan out both where you want to go and how you want to get there. It gets better. All warfare is based on deception. In part, this means when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When we are far away, we must make him believe we are near. W.C. Fields said it a bit differently. Never give a sucker an even break or smarten up a chump. Donald Trump is proving to be a master strategist, and he is brilliantly proving that he knows his enemies. When Little Rocket Man bragged about his nuclear button, the Donald tweeted back that, I too have a nuclear button, but it is much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button works. And the swamp went nuts again. So what's going on? It's time for a little speculation since I haven't been invited to those Oval Office conferences. It appears that there's more than a little misdirection here, and that's exactly what Sun Tzu advises. Attacking Sessions gave the AG cover for his real job, which is to root out the real troublemakers at Justice and reopen investigations into manifest criminality in the government. He let on as much when he told us that 20 leak investigations were underway. But instead, the legacy media obsessed over the feud. Ditto for the McMaster and Tillerson feuds. Lots of good things are going on under cover of the media smoke. They're too busy looking at supposed chaos when the real story slips by them. And Bannon? May I suggest that this is a false flag operation? Why else would Bannon continue to support the president in the face of the legal letter and tweets? The final piece is the North Korea tiff. While the swamp goes nuts, Trump understands his opponent. Kim Jong-un is an Oriental, and face is crucially important. His nuclear program is about face, not about shooting at the U.S. He knows he can't defeat us. When Kim threatened a nuclear attack, Trump pointed out that Kim is a pipsqueak and has no ability to survive our retaliation. That's a simple fact, and Kim knows it. But that destroys Kim's face, and he can't tolerate that. That's why Kim's now trying to join the Olympics. That would give him prestige. And notice that Trump hasn't said anything directly about that. This is another piece of understanding your enemy. If you can give your enemy a way to save face without a war, you win. Can I explain everything? Nah. But this seems to explain what we see far better than any of the rabid foaming of the media and swamp. It seems that our president is outsmarting his opposition. Could it be that 2018 will show that the Sessions spat was really just setting up the timing of a bunch of Democrat perp walks just before the midterm elections? It will be interesting. Please remember to support VidZet on Patreon, like us on Facebook, and follow @VidZet on Twitter. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. Thanks for listening.